So you've been hearing about the Japanese wrestling promotion Dragongate, but you're not sure how to get into it. Well, I'm here to help. First, a few basic things you need to know. Dragongate was founded in 1999, but was called Toryumon until 2004. While most Japanese wrestling promotions are called Prores and are famous for the hard-hitting strong style, Toryumon was heavily inspired by Mexican lucha libre, so you'll hear it described as the hybrid-style luchadores. Much like in Mexico, masks are incredibly important in Dragongate, as the true identity of luchadors are not made public. Unmasking an opponent results in disqualification, and masks are often put on the line in apuestas matches, which also have stipulations like getting your head shaved or being forced to leave your faction. On that note, Dragongate is heavily focused on faction warfare, and units, or stables, often feud with each other for a long time. You'll also see a new crop of dojo trainees come in every year, so you'll hear a lot of talk about generations, new rookie classes, and who's going to join what unit. So here's how to watch. Dragongate.live is their streaming service. It's 1,650 yen per month, but check the link in the description below for the current exchange rate. But don't subscribe late in the month. They charge on the first of the month no matter what, and partial months are not prorated, so you'll be paying the full amount for the month and renew on the first no matter when you subscribe. I'll get to what's on the network in a bit, but first, here's some free extra stuff you should follow. For YouTube, the Dragongate Network channel posts the first match of every show for free. You don't need that if you're a network subscriber, but sometimes they post extra content. Gara TV posts other sports, but they have a dedicated Dragongate category with old matches and story montages. They're in Japanese, but you can get the basic idea if you only speak English. Dragongate JP is where you'll get extra matches from individual house shows. They've kinda stopped doing this, but you'll still likely get some extra segments during tournament events. For social media, follow Dragongate EN to get the cards for every show in advance, and follow their English commentator Jay, who gives basic translations for most smaller shows that don't have commentary. Now here's what the Dragongate Network includes. You'll get about 9 or 10 named events per year. You'll also get monthly Korakuen Hall shows where lots of story development happens, and touring shows in regular venues across Japan. Sometimes these have story advancement too, especially in their home base of Kobe. New shows stay up for 1 year before they're taken down, edited, and reposted later as Dragongate Infinity. Here's how the site works. In the menu, the Pickout page has the most recent streaming show. Live and on demand is all shows from the past year that haven't been edited down yet. Commercials and interviews is where you'll get monthly schedule announcements. Tournament and Series is the archive content with categories like Infinity episodes grouped by year, English commentary shows only, and old Toryumon shows from the early 2000s which have been remastered in HD. They keep adding more to this all the time. The Matches page has full director's cut versions of clipped matches, and special highlights like the English commentary team reviewing classic matches. Original Programs is content filmed by the wrestlers outside of shows. It's not essential, but a lot of it's pretty fun. Dragongate Studio is host to the original run of Prime Zone, a monthly non-canon show in a small venue where they experiment with weird storylines and comedy. It's surreal, it's hilarious, and it returned in 2024 as Prime Zone Plus after a 4-year hiatus. On major shows, you'll get a choice of commentary. For Japanese audio, you'll get Katsuya Ichikawa with wrestlers doing guest commentary. For English, you'll get Jay Church and Ho Ho Lun. Jay used to run iHeartDG, which was one of the only English resources for Dragongate results and information for several years, and then the company hired him. Ho Ho Lun is a wrestler from Hong Kong who promotes wrestling all over the world. For smaller shows, you'll get a choice of wrestler commentary in Japanese or no commentary at all, so it just depends on your preference. In the 1980s and 90s, smaller and faster wrestlers, or junior heavyweights, often flocked to Mexico, where the flashy, acrobatic lucha libre style is widely popular. Japanese wrestler Yoshihiro Asai, better known as Ultimo Dragon, founded Toryumon Mexico in 1997 and shared talents with WCW's Cruiserweight division before launching Toryumon Japan in 1999. In 2004, Ultimo Dragon left Toryumon to wrestle in WWE and took his trademarks with him before returning to Mexico. The promotion renamed itself Dragongate, and its top star Shima took over, booking alongside the company's president. From 2009 to 2015, Dragongate spun off into DG USA and DG UK, and in 2018 formed a working relationship with OWE in China. Shima took some of his young prospects there, but after a corporate split, Shima left and took some of the talent with him. You may have seen them in early AEW as Strong Hearts before they settled in Great. In 2019, Ultimo Dragon finally came back after a 15-year absence and has worked as a creative consultant ever since. Toryumon's title belts came from other promotions, but after rebranding to Dragongate, they introduced their own. Their top belt is the Open the Dreamgate Championship, where the champion's name is etched inside the belt and locked behind a literal gate. Challengers receive dream keys, and if they win, they can use the key to unlock the belt. But if they fail, the keys become trophies that hang from a rail on the bottom of the belt so you can see how many title defenses the champion has won. Their middleweight belt is the Open the Bravegate Championship. It has a weight limit of 83 kilos, but sometimes this rule is ignored because it's basically their mid-card belt. Dragongate also has tag team titles called the Open the Twin Gate Championship, and their trios titles, the Open the Triangle Gate Championship, are considered the symbol of unit supremacy in the company. Dragongate uses lucha tag rules, which means the legal man leaving the ring counts as a tag to keep the action flowing. The Dragongate Championship is a comedy belt where the winner is decided by audience reaction. It's not seen very often on main Dragongate programming, but it's usually defended on the Buyuden Zero spin-off shows, which are also included on the network. Dragongate's year kicks off in late January with its newest event, the Gate of Bayside in Yokohama, and it's the first of the annual Big Six shows. In early March, you'll get Champion Gate in Osaka, a medium-sized show where all the title belts are defended. It's usually a two-night event, but 2024 introduced Nostalgia Gate as one of those nights, where old Toryumon and Dragongate units reformed for one night only. Late March also has Memorial Gate in Wakayama, which is a smaller show that usually has at least one big title defense. March and April now typically have the Rey de Parejas Tag League, featuring 2 round-robin blocks of tag teams, in which the winners of each block fight in the finals for a shot at the Open the Twin Gate Championship. Dead or Alive takes place in early May, and its regular venue was in Nagoya for many years. This event is synonymous with a survival cage match, which has heavy stipulations and usually ends in someone losing their mask or hair or their unit, though the cage match is sometimes moved to another event if the booking works better there. Depending on the year, the next big event is likely Kobe Pro Wrestling Festival, also known as Kobe World. It's their biggest annual event that all the big feuds and storylines lead up to, and it's usually in July. The King of Gate tournament takes place over multiple weeks, and depending on the year, it's either before or after Kobe World. It can either be single elimination or round-robin block style, and the winner usually gets an Open the Dreamgate title shot. Dangerous Gate is September's big event, held in Tokyo. There's usually a Dreamgate title defense in the main event, especially if King of Gate takes place immediately before it. Gate of Origin takes place in Sendai, and it's one of the medium-sized shows. It's a floating event that can happen anytime within the last few months of the year, depending on when they need it, and it's often headlined by a Triangle Gate defense. Gate of Destiny is in November in Osaka. It's the biggest autumn show and usually features all or most of the titles defended, with number 1 contender matches as a big part of the build-up. The final gate is held in December in Fukuoka, usually around Christmas, and it acts as a season finale to the stories and feuds that have built up over the latter half of the year. It's usually main evented by a big Dreamgate title match, and sometimes a unit disbands match. You can start watching pretty much any time, but there are some natural points to jump in because a lot of units break up and form around the same times. Otherwise, if you want to backtrack a bit, you can pretty much just watch the Big Six events and the Korakuen Hall shows, and you'll get caught up to speed pretty quickly. Their tournaments are also a good way to familiarize yourself with the roster. Dragongate's official roster page is at the Gauro website, and it contains all of the current unit lineups and current champions. But if you keep watching this playlist, you'll always see my roster series right underneath this primer video, and any additional content will be below that, while outdated content will go into a separate archives playlist. And since Dragongate is unfortunately not covered as much by major wrestling outlets, I also highly recommend a few podcasts. Open the Voice Gate on the Voices of Wrestling Network, Dramatic Dream Dragons on the 5-Star Network, and Paradise Vibes, which you can find on Spotify. They cover recent shows and upcoming events, news within the company, and analyze character storylines, and I'm considered a friend of the show on each. Otherwise, I'll keep things as current as I can, and I'll post other Dragongate content like opinion pieces and major show previews when my time allows it. So give me a like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.